We've got some exciting news for all you Marvel Maniacs out there.
That's right. We're inviting you to join our exclusive Marvel Movie Minute membership program.
For just $5 a month or $55 a year, you'll gain access to a world of marvelous perks that will make you feel like you've been hit with a dose of super soldier serum.
As a member, not only will you get bad puns like that, you'll also get your own private podcast feed delivering early, ad-free episodes straight to your ears faster than Thor's hammer flying back to his hand.
And members also get access to periodic bonus episodes exclusively for our most dedicated fans. Consider it your own personal Jarvis for Marvel movie content.
Plus, you'll gain entry to our exclusive Discord community, where you can chat with other Marvel fanatics just like you. It's like you're assembling your very own team of Avengers.
Most importantly, by becoming a member, you'll be directly contributing to the show you love and helping us keep Marvel Movie Minute running strong. We value your support more than all the vibranium in Wakanda.
We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey through the MCU. You're the Pepper Potts to our Tony Stark, always there by our side.
You're the arc reactor to our Iron Man suit, the Heimdall to our Thor, the horny jokes to our Deadpool.
The gamma radiation to our Bruce Banner.
Well, maybe not that one.
I'm sorry.
So what are you waiting for? Don't be like Hawkeye, always getting left out of the action.
Head over to truestory.fm/join and become a member today.
Join us, and together we'll explore the Marvel Cinematic Universe like never before.
Step up to the streets and become the hero of your own story.
Excelsior, true believers. With your support, we'll make this membership program a smash hit. Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
What's up, most excellent friends?
It's Chrissy and Nathan from the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast.
It's a podcast where a filmmaker and a comedian
And their most excellent guests,
adventure their way through the 80s movies we think we love
or might have missed.
with our grown-up eyes to see how they hold up.
Join us for delightful discussion,
Rollicking recaps.
ratings, and deep-cut recommendations.
Plus, members get some extra fun chit-chat with the hosts after the show.
Download the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast today at truestory.fm.
Or find it wherever the finest podcasts are stored.
And do remember to keep the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast motto in mind.
Be excellent to each other and...
Party on.
Party on, dudes.
Ever wondered what happens when a Zoomer who grew up on the Clone Wars,
Millennial Anakin defender,
And a grumpy old Gen Xer walk into a cantina to talk Star Wars?
then we've got the podcast for you.
Star Wars Generations is a place for fans of all backgrounds to come together, talk about why we love the franchise, and what we can learn from each other.
With so much new Star Wars content coming out, we take a deep dive into all of it. We talk stories and characters, what we learn about the Force and the Empire, Republics old and new, and how each story adds to the larger picture.
Besides episode-by-episode coverage of the new shows, we've been going back to watch the movies in release order. We talk about Star Wars novels and video games, along with fan content and cosplay.
And with each episode, we're just starting the conversation, and we hope you jump in. We'll read your feedback, answer your questions. We've even had full episodes dedicated to questions raised by listeners like you.
You can find us under Star Wars Generations on your favorite podcast app or by going to theethicalpanda.com. May the Force be with you.
Now this is podcasting.
Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a weekly podcast which we disassemble a film for the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 5-minute segments and then examine them in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Storywell podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and Kyle.
It's Rob.
The idea that deception as a key part of war is expressed in Sun Tzu's The Art of War, where he writes, all warfare is based on deception. Now, deception has a favorite tool, and its name is propaganda. Creating propaganda has been a human activity as far back as reliable recorded history exists. The Behistun inscription from 515 BC detailed the rise of Darius I to the Persian throne and is viewed by most historians as an early example of propaganda. The modern word propaganda is derived from the Latin verb propagare, meaning to disseminate or to spread, and first came into common use in Europe as a result of the missionary activities of the Catholic Church in 1622. The term did not become a dirty word until the mid-19th century, when it was used in political machinations and continues until this very day. I'd like to have a small moment of silence there. Okay, so here's the deal. With this whole theme of last episode, this episode, we're dealing with propaganda. We're dealing with deception.
That's right. So look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair, as we hit Iron Man 3 from 2013, directed by Shane Black, written by Shane Black and Drew Pearce. We have come to minute 81. Tony has been captured by and apparently not by the Mandarin, but by Savin, and then found out that his ex-girlfriend, girlfriend, no, I don't know. Was it just that one night? I don't know.
Yeah, she was a one night stand. That was it.
It turns out was willingly working for this organization, but apparently there is no Mandarin. We're still. She
just wanted the money. She wanted the money.
Tried to she compromised all of her morals to try and get her research through.
Well, she's having a very open conversation with Tony.
Yes. So when we join them, Tony is still trying to get through to her, and he continues on saying, "You wanted to help people. Now look at you. I get to wake up every morning with someone who still has their soul. Oh, get me out of here. Come on." But that's an interesting turn of phrase right from the start. I get to wake up every morning with someone who still has their soul, not I still have my soul.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but this, she's not even in the room, and he's throwing some big love for Pepper here.
Wait, that one, and I got to tell you, that is the beginning. One of the things we'll talk about is there is some serious acting going on by Robert Downey Jr.
By Maya too. This is her big chance. This is her big scene. Honestly,
Pepper
was there, but yeah, she didn't. Honestly, she doesn't get a lot to do in this movie.
So here's the deal. So he says that this is still someone who still has their soul. One incredibly beautiful moment of Tony Stark saying, "Yeah, I love Pepper." Right. So you have that, and as you said, what a dagger to her. She's got to be like, "Ooh, I am the villain. Now what do I do?" But right. Fortunately, they're by themselves, and now they can work.
Yeah, exactly. They could have a nice, quiet conversation where no one is hearing this. They can be real with each other.
And then,
oh wait, that is the moment when Aldrich Killian pipes up, and turns out he's been standing at the top of the stairs in this big lab. This lab is going to be used for a while, so they should get the layout here. So he goes walking down the stairs and says, "You know what my old man used to say to me? One of his favorite many sayings: the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese." It's like, I've never heard that expression before, but that's pretty good.
Now, I love this. And again, we talked about this about Tony.
Yeah.
We won't talk yet about the second mouse because the obvious thing will be mentioned by Tony, yes. But that is a very powerful statement.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it.
Yeah. So then Tony he pivots and then directs his attention over to Killian. He's still strapped to the metal bed frame, which is standing up. And Tony says, "You're not still pissed off about the Switzerland thing, are you?" This is the first time that Tony has seen Killian since that night, right?
Oh, because everything else has been over the phone. Yeah. Like when he's been talking to Happy.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the first time they actually have been face to face since that night in Switzerland. So Killian says, "How can I be pissed at you, Tony? I'm here to thank you." And that's when we realize, yes, it's an exposition dump time. Yeah. So this is when we have the villain monologue where he lays out his entire plan, and we have to then re-put everything back together again, and a new conceptualization of what we've seen before. He says, "I'm here to thank you. You gave me the greatest gift that anyone's ever given me. Desperation. If you think back to Switzerland, you said you'd meet me on the rooftop, right? Well, for the first 20 minutes, I actually thought you'd show up. And the next hour," and that's where minute 81 comes to an end, 82 starts with, "I considered taking that one-step shortcut to the lobby, if you know what I mean." It's like, ooh, wow. Okay. So, yeah. So that when you now see sort of the level of desperation that he was at, even when he came to Tony, maybe like that was Tony, maybe going to Switzerland and finding Tony Stark was his last shot in the way he saw it. And so he considers something, even worse. And we even see flashbacks of him then on the roof. And Tony says, honestly, I'm still trying to figure out what happened to the first mouse.
As we all are. And then until your mind connects and you realize the first mouse is dead.
Yeah, he died. And then
smooshed.
Yeah.
In the trap. So that's pretty great. I mean, and I don't, and I have to tell you, I think the first time I saw this movie, I don't think I got that. I don't think my brain was as fast. And I was just like, I don't know what that means. What do you mean second mouse? Oh yeah, because the first mouse is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still I'm still trying to figure out how exactly that connects to what they're talking about in here. Like I get the metaphor, but is Killian the second mouse?
Well, no. He's saying that Killian is saying he's the second mouse. So instead of being
the first mouse is
the first mouse is about to be, it's both of them.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, and I don't think it's that deep, but what I think he's really just trying to say is, hey, just because I wasn't first, just because I wasn't in the limelight, just because I wasn't the one doing all the stuff doesn't mean that I ain't going to win in the end. I'm not going to win in the end. It means that, hey, I've been working in the shadows as we're about
to get the prize and not have to
exactly.
Price. So he says, but as I looked out over that city, and that's obviously Bern in Switzerland, which we talked about in the first episode, nobody knew I was there. Nobody could see me. No one was even looking. I had thought that would guide me for years to come. Anonymity, Tony. Thanks to you, it's been my mantra ever since. Right? You simply rule from behind the scenes. And as we see him off camera as the Mandarin is giving one of his speeches. It says, because the second you give evil a face, a bin Laden, a Gaddafi, a Mandarin, you hand the people a target.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's when we realize, so it wasn't that Killian has not been working for the Mandarin. He created the Mandarin in order to have someone that people could, put up on and do all these angry things about and be focused on.
His deception. Correct. Now, by the way, did you think, now that's an interesting, and this is a comic book movie. I get it. It is interesting to understand if you're a person of a certain age. You remember Muammar Gaddafi was a big evil character that was used quite extensively in media in the 1980s. But I mean, putting that in with bin Laden, I mean, that's, and this comes back to a theme that I have talked about before. Really touching on some interesting topics here in this movie.
I think that's essentially in this particular scene, that's the intention, is he's saying, yes, I'm using those specific touch points to trigger people, to get them upset, to get them thinking that he fits in the same category when he in fact does not. Right. So, and Tony says, you're something else. Ken says, you have met him, I assume. It says, yes, Sir Lawrence Olivier.
That's such a great name.
That's so good.
I mean,
referring obviously to Sir Lawrence Olivier, who was one of the great actors of this time. I think he won an Oscar at like 18. I didn't look him up for Hamlet. So Killian then says, I know he's a little over the top sometimes. It's not entirely my fault. He's a stage actor, as if like that explains everything. You go, oh yeah, okay. Say,
would you loved if he would have just said he's British?
No. They say his leer was the toast of Croydon, wherever that is, and so, which they say is it Trevor that says that? Is it Trevor that told you his leer was the toast of Croydon? Do we ever actually see any reviews from his time there? But that goes back to like we were talking about in the last episode with the plastic surgery, is that obviously there were people that knew him. So he would want to have like the first Mandarin broadcast going like, Mr. President. People would go like, hey, I know that guy.
Oh my God. Wait a minute.
Like they're like at the pub, like they're going like, hey, it's Trevor.
Hold on a second. Where is the one shot that was just the outtakes and the screen testing for the Mandarin?
Honestly, I wish they had done like an outtake reel in this thing to have it like running somewhere of like, Mr. President. No, sorry. Back to one.
Oh my God. Yes. He drops the rubber gun and the guy's on the floor and he's like,
sorry, love. So sorry.
Oh my God. Oh boy. All right.
So Killian then continues monologuing. He says, Syndrome would be so upset. You caught me monologuing. Anyway, the point is, ever since that big dude with the hammer fell out of the sky, subtlety has kind of had its day, which is like in the MCU. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I talk about that too. It's Thor was, I think, the big watershed moment because like people were like, oh, Iron Man's a guy in the suit, but then all of a sudden, oh yeah, big blonde space god. Yeah, that's sort of the.
Do you think? Can I do a segue here for a second?
Sure.
Can I rile the listeners?
Oh,
rile them up. I should say rile them up.
The following statements are.
Wouldn't you think we're at a stage
by Rob, from Rob, and
oh yeah, this is just me. Would you not think that if you really wanted to mess with the world, one of the last things left to do is to fake an alien encounter? Like if you really wanted to mess with everybody and really throw everything into a tizzy, is to have aliens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's that. Now by this point, like everyone knows, and like not even just like there's no like doubt. There are little areas like a couple thousand of them showed up in New York. Like there's no question anymore that there are aliens in the MCU.
No, but I find it interesting with this. With this is the realization that, but it all begins with Thor.
Yeah,
it all in this universe. It's all about, oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
Man. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Don't get any ideas, anybody.
Right. So 83 starts with Tony's going, what's next for you in your world? Which is like just an interesting sort of like, tell me more, please. Please impart more of your supervillain wisdom to me. And Killian says, well, I wanted to repay you the self-same gift that you so graciously imparted to me. And then we get to see Killian's balls. Oh, sorry. I mean, he takes out the metal holographic spheres and he throws them on the ground and projects an image up there. And this is where things get real because we see that he has kidnapped Pepper, has infected her with the Extremis, and that she is manacled to a table and going through the transformation process. And this is like, once again, we talked about there's a lot of great acting going on here. Tony's look, what Robert Downey Jr. does is
shocking.
And like you were talking about, he was already rocked by the Trevor thing, and then
here it is,
and now this is his nightmare. Like it has absolutely come true that Pepper is now not only like the Ironmonger had threatened her, and Whiplash had threatened her now, and Justin Hammer stuff too. But like now, here it is, she is literally dying because of him. And
he knows, and he immediately knows that it's a death sentence, or at least that's what he thinks, right? Because he's seen what's happened.
Yes.
Firsthand with these people, with Extremis.
And he knows it's unstable, and he's seen the what happens when people can't maintain control. So Killian says, desperation. Now, this is live. I'm not sure if you can tell, but at this moment, the body is trying to decide whether to accept Extremis or just give up. And if it gives up, I have to say the detonation is quite spectacular. But until that point, it's really just a lot of pain. We haven't talked salary yet. What kind of perk package are you thinking?
Oh my God.
Like, okay. And then we see that Maya has been listening to all this. And I wish there had been more cutaways to her sort of doing it. I'm told that in the commentary thing, there was an actual cut scene where what she does. So essentially they turn around and she has an Extremis syringe held up to her neck that she's going to do it. Now, apparently this was a longer scene where she was never intending to actually do that, but she knew that she could get Killian to come over to take it from her. And so what she had done is in basically ripped off a piece of the plant that was there. And so then like he was going to come over to her to get it, and then the plant was going to explode, and that was going to be like the decoy time to her to try and get Tony out. Like there was a whole longer action scene, and it would have turned to a fight, and then in the fight she was going to die. But that's not how it cuts together. So
can I tell you, in this moment, Robert Downey Jr. amazing. I mean, I don't remember it being this luscious in terms of the facial expression.
Yeah,
in that he is in pain. You can literally see on his face seeing Pepper, and his anger is secondary. But even Maya, you can even see this is her moment. This is her This is her moment where she gets to turn and tries to throw the Emperor down the shaft, right?
Yeah.
Like where she goes, oh man, I kind of like this guy. I know he's in love with someone that he really loves. And now I've directly led to her demise.
Yeah.
In front of him, and this sucks.
Sure, the lying and then some people dying, too. But then now kidnapping, like it finally puts it over the line where like that is the line that whatever pushes her over the edge, and then finally she has switched to the side of angels, I guess, as much as she could. Mm-hmm. So Killian says, hold on, Maya, like try to like calm her down, slow down to like he's walking towards her. She said, I said, let him go. Killian says, what are you doing? She says, 1,200 cc's, a dose half this size, I'm dead. Okay, so that's interesting that she actually knows that much about that they can control.
Right.
So like there is a way to overdose on this intentionally. So she does have that much. They have figured that much out of what is the limit. And I'm sure a lot of people probably died before they figured out what that limit was. So Killian says, it's times like this, my temper is tested somewhat. So as we get to 84, Killian says, Maya, give me the injector. Maya says, if I die, Killian, what happens to your soldiers? What happens to your product? Killian says, we're not doing this, okay? Maya says, what happens to you? What happens if you go too hot? And so then he like sort of walks back to Tony like, can you believe this? Like, look what I have to give up with my employees. Can you believe this? And then she says, what happens to you? What happens if you go too hot? And that's when Killian goes too hot and turns around and shoots Maya and kills her.
Now, let me ask you the $1 million question.
Yes.
At what point did Killian know he was going to kill her?
Well, I think he had let her run out her plan as much as he wanted. Like, I don't think he was in the let's bring Tony into this thing. Because like he did not know she was going to be at the mansion. So already that had been a betrayal, I would say.
Right.
In his mind. She was already on very thin ice. And now here he is. Like he showed up at the house. Like he found Trevor. Like he exposed all this stuff. And then now she's wavering. And so I think it's sort of like by the time that he walks into the room and hears Tony like making this play and her listening to his pitch, that he's like, well, termination time.
So here's the funny thing, and not noticed until I watched it this time.
Yeah.
We know he has watched the entire conversation with the two of them.
Yes.
What he didn't know was that Tony had the formula on the back of the name tag.
Ah.
And once he sees that, he goes, oh, Maya's not the key to solving the problems here. It's Tony. And the whole thing, he comes down. And my proof for this is Tony's look to him when he looks at her, when she's all saying this and he looks back at Tony, Tony's face is, you're dead.
Yeah.
He knows. He immediately gets it. I had never noticed this before, but I absolutely will tell you, the moment she flipped the name tag around and showed that he had the formula, Killian's like, yeah, you're done with me now. So this whole thing, because Killian's a psychopath, this whole thing is art. It's theater, as everything with Killian is. The whole conversation is theater. And the Pepper is just the added thing. I mean, like it's part of this because, again, Pepper, I'm sure he's getting back at Pepper in his mind because Pepper scorned him. But that's, to me, it's the moment when she pulls out the name tag.
Yeah, and so unfortunately that is a picture wrap for Rebecca Hall. Okay.
Good riddance. Good riddance, I say to you, sir.
Rebecca Hall did a great job.
No, she's great. Let me tell you this. What's the last time I can think of a actor that I actually despised because of the role was probably I think it's Rosie Perez in a Nicolas Cage movie with Bridget Fonda. Oh man, that's
cop gives waitress $2 million tip.
Yes.
But
yes, it's that. I don't. Okay. Yes, Rebecca, way to go. Great job. Because Maya, good that she's dead. I'm glad. She is horrible person, horrible friend, horrible one night stand, horrible scientist, all horrible decisions.
But Brandt got her arm back. I mean, she ended up dead on a telephone wire.
My
but she got her arm back. Okay, so let's talk about what could have been, because from what they have, but some of this came from the interviews, some of these came from the MCU book, and some of this came from Scuttlebutt. So what I'm saying is not going to be like this is the unvarnished truth. You're getting a hot take here on thing. This is a combination of all that stuff plus my own fan theory. What we know is when they hired Rebecca, they didn't hire her as fifth lead or whatever. I think she was the Mandarin. When they hired her, she was brought in. Like, the idea is that you're going to be revealed to be the power behind the throne. You are the Mandarin. You've been doing this the whole time. And then suddenly, as the script pages started coming in, her part kept getting smaller and smaller. And suddenly now Killian is doing a lot more stuff. And then she sort of had to sit down and they said, yeah, well, that was a plan. It was going to be you as the Mandarin, and your right hand was going to be Brant. The two of them were going to be the ones who were actually running all of this, and then everybody else was sort of working for them. That was the big revelation, was going to be that way. And then they found out that at this point, Marvel Studios was still under the control of Marvel Entertainment, which is run by something called the Creative Committee. And a lot so this all gets into heavy details in the book, which did really, they're journalists. They did a good job of doing this out. But essentially, Marvel Entertainment is not interested in anything other than selling merchandise. So their whole philosophy through all of the phase 1 and phase 2 was, how can we push plastic? And girl action figures don't sell. And neither do characters other than straight white dudes. So the whole time period, essentially, they put the kibosh on anything that wasn't pushing handsome white dudes named Chris to be on the things, because that's the toys that kids bought this is their philosophy of it. And so there are no female villains. There are no heroes of color. There are no female heroes leading these movies
back at this time,
specifically because every one of those proposals would get shut down because nobody's going to buy those toys. And the whole point of make these movies is not to make money on the movies. It's to sell merchandise off of them.
Boo.
Yeah.
Also,
so then all of a sudden Rebecca, her part gets reduced down to this. And she said, okay, if that has to be the case, at least give me a good death. And they're like, absolutely. And then they didn't even do that.
Oh yeah. Cause this death is you're trash now. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Right.
Okay. That stinks.
Yeah.
Makes me kind of go back to not liking this movie.
Well, this is not Shane Black, because Shane Black and Drew Pearce are the ones who this is what we want to do, and it was the Marvel.
No, I get it.
Are the ones who said absolutely not.
Now, we're toy collectors.
Yes.
In one of our other lives, I distinctly remember Iron Man 3 toys. They all sucked. So whatever, everybody.
But still, I mean, they've never made. I mean, like you can get a Killian like a Killian Lego figure, but
except for the 1-3 pack, which we're going to talk about in a future episode.
Yeah. But honestly, like you can see why, of all the different machinations, you can see why there's never been any conversation of like Dr. Maya Hansen making a comeback, or Rebecca Hall coming in, because honestly, she's
dead.
Well, yeah, but just because you're dead doesn't mean you're dead.
Oh, I mean, that is true. Okay, yeah.
There are ways.
I will tell you, though.
Multiverse out there.
Let's just say Rebecca. Well, then Rebecca, I'm sorry. And obviously, great role. But Maya, I mean, just.
Yeah. I think there's a very interesting version that could have been about her on a parallel path with Tony, because the original concept, I guess, was the idea that they had met and he had had a profound impact on her life, and then they separate and then come back together, and then you get to see that her following the path that he had sort of pushed her to do, to try and do this, and then how it had come back. So kind of almost like a fan adoration thing, and then coming back together and sort of checking in where they are, but none of that is in this movie. All of that stuff gets sent to Killian because they give it to the white dude, so he gets to have all of this super dramatic stuff, and she gets shot and dropped, and she's gone. C'est la vie.
Wow. And Trevor. And you got a Trevor.
And Trevor. Yeah, you could. I mean, Trevor was always a part of the thing. It was always going to be that way. It just turns out that like the end revelation was going to be it was her that was controlling. So Killian shoots her and then says, the good news is a high-level position has just been vacated.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony is, of course, extremely pissed about this and still can't do anything about it because he's still chained up to this bed and says, you are a maniac. And Killian says, no, I'm a visionary. But I do own a maniac, and he takes the stage tonight. Oh, now that we know Savin's gonna be doing a bunch of stuff, but like that, he's referring to the character of the Mandarin, right?
Oh yeah,
that's his maniac. Because I mean, Trevor's not a maniac.
No, I mean that's yeah. Oh yeah. It's all theater again. Oh no, it's still theater. Absolutely. By the way, I know this movie's rated. What is it? PG-13.
PG-13. Yeah.
PG-13. If it had been R, Tony would have said some other things to him. I just thought I will just say this. Like at that moment, when you think of everything Tony has been through, everything Tony has just witnessed.
Yeah.
You're a maniac is the lowest level thing you can say.
But also we have the typical like this is very James Bond here. Of now I've come in, here's my evil plan, and now I'm going to leave you alone with my flunkies.
Oh no, dude. Like put that bottomless chair away. I don't need that. I know what James Bond. I know what happens now. No. All right.
So the next thing, Killian then exits and meets up with Savin, and they're walking somewhere, and he says to Savin, "Once we get the Patriot installed, it will take me 9 or 10 minutes for the takedown." And Savin says, "Well, that's great, but the last time I looked, there was somebody inside of it." So then we cut back to. It turns out that Rhodey is here as well. So the Iron Patriot armor is strung up. Rhodey is still inside it, and they are trying to get into it
with a radial saw.
Yes, they're trying. So then it's another part of this, like for a we live in a place that does not really believe in this whole basement concept. I find it interesting that in Miami, which has its own issues of like water and seepage and ground level, that there's this giant decorated
cavernous basement. It's a bat cave sized basement.
Yeah,
that seems odd.
But they come down. It's very medieval torture in this thing of them held by chains, and they're hitting with sharp implements. And so he walks up and says, "Afternoon, gentlemen," and then they all stop working on it. So he walks up to the Iron Patriot suit and says, "Hello, Colonel. Step aside." And so Killian then fires up his Extremis, and his hands go orange, and then he starts working on the suit around the around the belly, essentially, to try
abdominal region,
heating it up. And he says, "Oh, we'll get you out of there. Don't worry." And Savin says, "You'll damage the armor." And Killian says, "Yes, I will, but you can fix it, right?" It's like, yeah, sure, boss, absolutely. I'm going to take the Chinook to base camp, and I want Potts with me. So Chinook is a type of helicopter. And Savin says she's still in phase 2, which is interesting because now we know that there are phases to the Extremis process as well.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Who is the company that did the final upgrades to the Iron Patriot suit?
It was AIM, I believe.
Who runs AIM?
That'd be Aldrich Killian.
I want to tell you right now, this makes no sense.
I know. We're back to
this. Makes no sense. Watching this again, I almost lost it.
Even with
I literally almost lost it.
Of like him, like doing the thing with the arm, they somehow knew a way to like take him out in one heated up thing. You knocked him out. You don't have any way of.
You don't have a Trojan horse. Oh, you like how I brought in deception there? Wait, stop. You're gonna melt the innards with your hand. That makes no sense.
Yeah. That they don't have any. This is like this complex, multi-layered plan involving, global manipulation and global positioning, and as we're about to find out, the president and Air Force One and all this stuff. And your plan was, how about we just heat him up until he pops out like toast out of a toaster?
And by the way, there's a phenomenal moment here that would have been amazing because you've used this effect throughout the movie already. Yeah. He should have walked in and said. Killian should have looked at all the guys and said, "Okay, you guys are idiots." And Rhodey should have been like, you ain't getting inside this can. And Killian goes, goes, reaches into his pocket, pulls out a button, and the whole suit just falls off him. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, they're not torturing Tony, so I guess they're going to have to torture her. But that's the other thing, too, is like knowing that Rhodey is in there, like that's an immediate threat because he's down the hall. So like, why wouldn't you like have like, hey, by the way, also your best friend is down the hall. You're about to hear him screaming.
Yeah, because we can press a button and the suit's going to fall off him. Yeah. And then we're going to torture him. Yeah. And it's going to be bad.
We're going to torture him in front of you until you tell him to get out of the suit.
I mean, can you imagine? By the way, imagine that. Like, you want to break Tony, bring the two most important people in his life.
Yeah. You wheel it in, and like you got Iron Patriot hanging. There's Rhodey in the suit as they're doing all this stuff. And there's the hologram of Pepper on the right. Like, at that point, Tony caves.
Oh my God, it's over.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so much better. It would have been a lot more sadistic. And I'm sorry to the viewers and listeners. Like,
well, okay. So then Killian says, "You're not going deaf, are you?" to Savin. And then we cut back to Tony still being held up, and his watch starts beeping, and that's pretty much where minute 85 comes to an end. So we'll get into like,
wait, the watch starts beeping.
Yes.
The door of the Explorer watch.
Door of the Explorer watch. Yes, starts beeping. And then we'll get into like the guys in there too, and the next thing. But so before we, so that's the sort of the end of minute 85 that brings it in. But okay,
I'm angry.
So I understand. Yeah. It's one last point before we sort of beg for money. We all know it's coming.
Sure.
We don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to get there. Okay. So I understand that. Steve Rogers' philosophy is, I don't want to kill anyone. I just don't like bullies. Like, that's his thing. And he, he will not back down. Like we see, even we'll see, in the future in Civil War, like he is an iconoclast. He no, you move like that. So he digs in his heels. Right. He says to Tony Stark in the Avengers, you're not the guy to make the sacrifice play. You're not the guy who's going to lay on the barbed wire and let someone else crawl over you. And he says, and Tony says, I would probably cut the wire. It's a big moment. So then we see him make the sacrifice play in Avengers. He grabs a nuke and flies away, thinking he's going to die. And now here we are in Iron Man 3. He's suffering the post-traumatic stress, like the victim's guilt of like he actually did save the world and made it back where he thought he was going to die, and now he can't get over this. He's still stuck in this thing. And now he's captured. Maya has been killed in front of him. Pepper is being tortured. Rhodey is down the hall. I understand that he's a superhero. I understand the movie. Why doesn't he just agree to fix Extremis?
Oh.
As I was watching this, as him being standing there, like tied up, all hope lost, I thought so just fix it.
Wait, because now you got it because Pepper's got it.
Yes. So fix it. So be like, you know what? You win. And then none of the third act has to happen the way.
Wait a minute. Yes, because Maya's dead. There's no way. I mean, literally, he's the only one who can fix it.
Yes. And they're doing all this stuff to like get it. But at that point, I honestly, I don't. And maybe it's like maybe as we see next week, we'll see why all this has to happen and their big plan and the Mandarin's final act and all this stuff. But you have what you want. You have Tony. You have him over a barrel. You have all the leverage in the world on him. Tony doesn't care about the president.
He only cares about Pepper and Rhodey.
Right. And so even in putting in the head of Tony Stark,
his house is destroyed.
Yes,
all his stuff's gone.
Dummy and you are gone. Like he's got nothing. He's got nothing left.
The suit's kicking back, eating rice-a-roni in Chattanooga or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And back in Jarvis is glitching back in Rose Hill.
I don't know why I said rice-a-roni, by the way.
It is the San Francisco treat.
Yeah,
but at this point, why, as Tony Stark, why wouldn't you just be like, okay, I'll do it.
Wait, and Tony's always thinking, well, maybe this is just the show that that's it. It's to illustrate that he's got nothing left. He's defeated.
Well, but defeated would be doing it. He's still being heroic in that he won't. But Killian doesn't even say, get to work. And Tony says, no, I won't do it. I refuse. Like, you can have you may take my life, but you'll never take my freedom. He doesn't say, give me liberty or give me death. He doesn't say, no, you move. He doesn't say, I am Iron Man. He doesn't say, Killian doesn't even say, like, what else you got? Like, I've won. I beat you. He just leaves to go continue on with his plan. But
okay, now I'm going to be honest here.
Tony,
is the watch got something secret in it? Is it beeping something? Well, yeah, no, because now you
next episode. But
well, no, now I'm like, what a punk. This movie is a movie of punks. That's what it is.
I mean, I understand that he's, you don't give in to evil and stuff too, but at this point, doesn't it benefit everyone to get Extremis? Because then no more people blowing up. Like, I know there's the whole thing of like the thing, but like, you make weapons. Like, you think the Iron Patriot armor that you made hasn't gone out and killed people? Because it has.
I want to tell you right now, I hope the title of this episode is It's a Movie of Punks. Because that right there, you've made the case. I can't make it any better.
Like, what is it? It's a murder of crows. What's a collection of punks called?
I don't know.
Of punks?
I mean, we should ask CM. So ask Phil Brooks. See what he says.
That's right. Yeah.
See what? Wow. I don't. Okay, then I'm at a loss because...
Well, speaking of CM Punk, maybe you'd like to join our cult of personality over at truestory.fm.
Oh, my God.
You can get on our Discords, drop all the wrestling references you want. See if you can tell me why, maybe I need to contact Matthew and from our own ethical panda. Maybe they can tell me why this is happening. But at any time, yeah, you can weigh in our forums or, hop in and jump in the chat. Let us know what you think of what's going on. Or over on the Facebook, we have this Executive Lounge is still available. So, and if you'd like to give $5 a month to let us help keep running, maybe you get access to some special super secret stuff, maybe some extra stuff, maybe some early episodes, some other fun stuff. We all have personalities. Cult is such an ugly word these days, but come join our like-minded society that all move in the same direction. truestory.fm/join. So we have seen the last of Dr. Hansen, but there is still more excitement as the barrel of monkeys are coming. So we are going to be taking a little trip into the sky. We'll see you there. Don't miss it. Enough said.
It's clobbering time.